Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout Deputy Editor Tom Freeman to have a look at his early thoughts for Game Week 4. Welcome Tom, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks, Joe. Yeah, international break, so a bit quieter this week, isn't it?
Yes,
But
definitely.
I guess it gives us an opportunity to kind of reflect on the first 3 weeks, look ahead to game week 4, chip strategies, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So, going to try and use the time productively. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, good. Refreshed from a week in
Yeah,
Wales
yeah.
looking at dolphins and seals, which
Oh,
is
that sounds
great.
amazing.
Recommends West Wales to anyone who's considering a family holiday. What we're going to do today, we're going to look see how you got in Game Week 3.
Yeah,
At the end, we'll look at what your early thoughts are for Game Week 4. But along the way, we'll have a look at the fixtures, bit of fixture planning, sort out when you might be wildcarding.
yeah,
Also, because you're an Aston Villa fan, I will ask you about Aston Villa. I've got a
yeah.
table about Aston Villa assets so far, who's performing well, who's not. That table is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Good chance to plug that. Do have a look at that. Do have a look at latest offers there. It's full of lots of tables. You can construct your own tables there. You can do the season ticker. You can sort by difficulties. Got the Rate My Team tool. Loads and loads of tools and gadgets, comparison tool, stuff like that. All the stuff you need to help you climb up your mini leagues as well. But yeah, all the season ticker, all the data that we'll show here is from there. Also, do please press that subscribe button to keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Do press that like button; it does help us out. And do consider leaving a comment on YouTube about perhaps what your plans are for Game Week 4,
Yeah.
and if there's any players you particularly want to get and how you might get them as well. Always interested in that as well. Always like those sort of positive fantasy football related comments. Let's have a look, see how you got on in Game Week 3. I've got your team up on the screen. Good week, 81 points. And you've got a green arrow. You're up to 1.8 million after I say tricky start, but everyone's doing really well at the moment.
Yeah,
But
it didn't feel like I had a bad start,
no,
but it wasn't as high and as good as some that I've
yeah,
seen. So it was kind of middling, I think. 1.8 million, it feels like we're slowly starting to climb into
yeah.
a respectable rank. Hopefully that will be achieved in the next few weeks.
Yeah, so you're pretty much probably averaging about 70 points a week so far. If someone said to me at the beginning of the season, "Oh, you're going to average around 70 points a week," I'll
Yeah,
take that.
yeah,
But we've been bolstered by Haaland, Salah, etc. Some high performers. So I've got a team up on the screen. Do you want to just read out the team and just sort of highlight any sort of either problem areas and also those that you're very, very happy with?
yeah, sure. So we'll start at the back and go forward. So I had Henderson in goal, who got 4 points away at Chelsea, which exceeded my expectations after a disappointing couple of weeks for Henderson. But yeah, felt content with that at the back. I had the clean sheet from Alexander Arnold. He threatened a mega haul, didn't he, at Old Trafford? But still happy with that. Konza got 2, lost the clean sheet at Leicester. Robinson got 4, another assist. Happy with that. Saka got 6. Rogers, which was my transfer in last week, only got 2. Eze 10, Smith Rowe 2. And then the front line was Muniz 2, Haaland as my captain 34, and Isak 9. And then on the bench, Bentley, Porro, Minter, and Kwanzaa.
Okay. So the key things there is patience rewarded with Eze.
Yeah.
We look at underlying stats each week. We look at the games as well, and there was no way that he was going to stay not scoring. Isak as well, good goal from him there. Like you, I've also got Minter on my bench. Game
Yeah.
week 4, Brighton have the first of 2 home games, Nottingham Forest and Ipswich, which is
Yeah.
a very nice pair of fixtures there. So yeah, I'm assuming Minty will come in.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we I think we both did this, didn't we, Joe, with the Smith Rowe Minte
Yeah, I liked it.
rotation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm happy now that he can come in, bench Smith Rowe, which we'll come on to a
Yep.
bit later. It feels like a nice use of funds and taking
Yeah.
advantage of their better fixtures.
Yeah, definitely. I also doubled up with Robinson and Barco. Barco's obviously now on
Okay.
loan.
Yeah.
If I'd have had the money, I would have gone for Dunk, obviously. But that would have been good. So I would have, I like that rotation for
Yeah,
the
it's good.
first few weeks, especially. Brighton also rotate quite well with Brentford going forward. Let's have a look at game weeks 4 and 5. So I've got the fixtures up on the screen, but before I do that, what's your sort of general plan? You're going to wild card in game week 6, perhaps?
Yeah, that was my plan when I built the team in game week 1, and I'm sticking to that. I think because don't have any Arsenal players, don't have any Brentford assets. Players like Flecken and Bomo look really good in 6. So yeah, the plan is to wild card in 6. So this table is particularly good for me because it is simply focusing on the next 2 weeks, and I've got 2 free transfers to use in that time. So.
Okay, this shows in game weeks 4 and 5. So if you are wildcard in game week 6, or even if you're not, but you're just looking for the next 2 game weeks, Brighton at the top, Ipswich in game week 4, Nottingham Forest in game week 5, both at home. Ipswich themselves are considered quite high, but they got Brighton away, obviously, and then Southampton away. Crystal Palace, a couple of home fixtures, not as easy, but pretty good still. Leicester at home, Manchester United at home. Southampton, Manchester United at home, Ipswich at home. So there's lots of teams with 2 good home fixtures. Aston Villa doing well, Everton and Wolves, 2 home fixtures there. Liverpool, Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth both at home as well. And further down though, Brentford, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham and Man City haven't got the best pair of fixtures in there. So if you wanted to move off there. So with this in mind, what's your immediate thought? Because you don't have Salah at the moment, for example. What's your immediate thought with your team and the sort of transfers you might make?
Yeah, well, I think that's the immediate concern. No Liverpool attack for not only game week 4 for Forest, but in game week 5 when Haaland isn't going to be the default captain because he's obviously got Arsenal. So I need to get myself into that Liverpool attack. But I feel fairly well covered with everything else. You look at Brighton and I've got Minte to come in this week. From Palace, they're up there. I've got Henderson and Eze. From Villa, I've got Konza and Rodgers. Got Alexander Arnold in, so I feel fairly well covered. So I think my transfer this week will be a Liverpool attacker, which we'll come on to in a bit. Game week 5, I'll probably have a bit of fun with that one. It's that roll of the dice, isn't it,
Yeah.
before you wild card?
Yeah.
And I could potentially take out Haaland that week if I wanted to, which would free up some funds.
Yeah, have you got how many transfers have you got for game week 4?
Just one.
Just the one, yeah. I went in with a 2, and earlier in the week I interviewed Mark FPL General. He got 3. I was quite jealous.
Yeah, I think it depends who you started with and how lucky you got with that. I mean, I got the Solanke injury. I had to get Nkunku out last week. I think he's gone down, what is it, to 6.2 or 3 now. So, yeah, envious of the people who've managed to stock up.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking, I've also got Haaland. Also in game week 5, he's certainly not captainable or necessary. But yeah, I was thinking of, I could remove him to say Watkins, for example. But I would lose some value because he's gone up to 15.2. So I would have to buy him back more. I would lose out there. So it's just weighing up that whether that 0.1 or so is or whether I would prefer the chance of perhaps Watkins points. But probably a good chance in a set. We'll talk about Aston Villa. Is Watkins worth getting? So let's have a look at game week 6 as well quickly, because this is when you might wildcard. I'm thinking about that as well. FPL General is thinking that as well. Some other content creators I've seen are, if you are watching this and you're wildcarding now, absolutely fine. I'm going to be doing a wildcard game week 4 wildcard draft video this week. I think it'll be out this weekend. And if you want to hold your wildcard, that's absolutely fine. So if you're seeing people like me and Tom or whoever, we're all saying wildcard 6, it does don't think you have to wildcard in game 6. It's totally team dependent. And with my team, Tom's team and others, it just sort of feels right. And this shows why, because for us, is the fixtures change. So suddenly Brighton, who we've got players with, the fixtures aren't so good. They got Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool, Man City. It's a poor run right up to game week 11. They're bottom. Newcastle, they're in our teams. They got City and Arsenal and Chelsea all within that period as well. And Brighton, obviously, tough one. Chelsea, they moved down. So Chelsea are in a lot of squads. But whilst they do have Brighton and Nottingham Forest at home in 6 and 7, it's game week 8. Liverpool, tricky. Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, really tough run there. Meanwhile, Brentford, Bomo, Visser, lots of options there. West Ham, Bowen. Bowen's certainly someone I've got my eye on in my wild card. Brentford, Ipswich, Nottingham Forest, and Everton all within that next 6 after game week 6. So yeah, I looked at this and just thought I am not geared up for this fixture change at all. So I need to wild card.
Yeah, I think I'm exactly the same, Joe. I think that Arsenal are quite low down on that, but those immediate fixtures, Leicester, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, I think you're going to want at least 2 Arsenal players for that, potentially 3, and then have a plan to move them on maybe when the fixtures get a bit tougher. Although there could be goals in that Liverpool home game and Newcastle and Chelsea away, so just keeping them is absolutely fine too. So I think that Havertz, I like the look of him as Saka and a defender. We spoke about Brentford. Umbomo absolutely coming in on penalties for that run. Flecken as well looks good. Love Bowen. I like Kilman as well. I think he's looked good in the first few weeks, good for bonus. And as well, Everton not looking good at the moment, but Mikolenko's dropped to 4.4. Could be a nice enabler for that run if you just need a cheap defender. So there's a few options there, and I think just for my team that makes most sense.
Yeah, I mean another issue. My team as well. I've got Barco and Kwanzaa, and I've somehow muddled through the first 3 game weeks. I'm going to go for another week or 2 with them, and I can't carry that. I can't carry that weight too long. I'll come a cropper. Let's have a look at Aston Villa. So I've got a table up on the screen. I've sorted this by expected goal involvement. It includes things like chances created, shots on target, also minutes per baseline bonus, which is the metric. Minutes per baseline bonus point system, which is the metric used to calculate bonus points. Basically, the lower the score there, the more frequent they're picking up these sort of metrics for the bonus, and the better they are for bonus. Watkins is top of this in terms of expected goal involvement. No goals yet. 3 starts, 2 shots on target. He's got an assist. He's 8.9 now. He's taken a dip. Still great fixtures. He just didn't do it against Leicester. But his bonus minutes per baseline bonus points are awful. It's every 36 minutes. So what's going on there with Watkins? I mean, for people like me, you, whoever don't have him, might want to get him in game week 4 or 5. Is he worth getting in?
Well, I think the reason, firstly, why that is so low is because of these big chances he's missed. And he's missed, I think it's 4 this season. He certainly missed 2 against Arsenal and at least 1 against Leicester. He doesn't feel like he's 100% fit at the moment. And I wrote about this last week, and I still recommended him as a transfer in, because I think that is going to, the more training he gets, the sharper he's going to become. But he's getting subbed off quite early, and it was, I think, 61 minutes at the weekend. He obviously played played quite a bit of the Euros. He didn't have a pre-season at all. He didn't play 1 friendly for us. And I think the fact that John Duran's playing or making such an impact off the bench, that's quite an easy change for Emery to make, to try and swing the momentum in our favour if we start to go a bit stale. And that's what happened at Leicester, and Duran comes on and gets that all-important second goal for us. So that's a bit of a concern. I don't think Duran's going to start over him yet, but I think the Champions League kicking in, I think if you do own him, you're going to have to accept that it won't be the Watkins of last season when you're getting 90 minutes week in, week out.
Okay, so I mean, for those wanting to tap into Aston Villa's good fixtures, Watkins at 8.9, there might be better options there. But it's Onana. I put in brackets, not Andre, because of his famous press conference where he insisted he's not Andre. Yeah, I don't know, he's the sort of, I don't know, Decoure or something like, it's that sort of player. The player that's like, how's he scoring? He's got 2 goals, 2 shots
Yeah,
on target, starting
yeah.
every game. He has created a chance as well, and he's very strong with baseline bonus. But he's a central defensive. He shouldn't be there, but he is.
Well, yeah, I mean he is deeper. He's slotted into the defensive line when I went to see them against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago. But he will sometimes Tillemans will sit and that'll allow him to break into the box. But it's mainly set piece threat. That's what
Okay.
you're getting from Onana. We've got Austin McPhee who does set pieces for us. He's very creative. You've seen both. His goals so far have been
Yeah.
from set pieces. And that's where the threat. I think you can do better. And I
Okay.
think that I know that he's outscoring Rodgers, but Rodgers would be the superior pick, I think.
Yeah. So he's a sort of Souček for those who enjoyed Souček's points a couple of seasons ago. In that sort of
Yeah.
role, as in he might get you some kind of set piece goal, but essentially he's not going to be in the box all the time.
Yeah, exactly that, Joe. Yeah, he's not quite as advanced as Souček either in open play.
Jacob Ramsey has come on.
Yeah,
No starts, but he has created 3 chances. He had a couple of shots on target from limited minutes, and a very strong baseline bonus as well, which might be reflective of limited minutes. But yeah, well, I mean, is he going to start? I mean, yeah,
well,
what's the situation with him? He's only 5.5.
he might do now because Bailey's picked up this hamstring injury, which so Ramsey replaced him at the weekend. McGinn switched flanks. That created the role on the left for Ramsey. He's a really good asset. It's just minutes with Ramsey, and we need to know that he's secure in this team. And we need to find out how long Bailey's going to be out for first. But he could become a factor in our season at some point, Ramsey. But it's a bit too soon at the moment, I think.
Okay, Duran as well. You mentioned as well. He's on that latest evidence. He's probably going to get you about 30, 40 minutes in games. But he's got a couple of goals, shots on target 3. So I mean, he could be an okay. I mean, for the gambler, that he's not going to start, but him against tired legs the last 30 minutes is clearly doing the business.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a real impact off the bench. I don't think there's many players that score as many goals coming on as a sub as he does. A few fans I've heard murmur saying, "Oh, we should start the next game against Everton because he's been playing better than Watkins." I don't see that personally. I think the best thing for Villa is to get Watkins up to speed as quick as possible, and benching him isn't going to help him with that. Wouldn't surprise me if he got a start further down the line with Champions League around, maybe. But I think, again, it's too soon because, he got 30 minutes at the weekend, but that could be 15, 20 minutes in other games at the moment. So I think it's just one to monitor for now. I think if you own Watkins, keep him. I think he's going to start the games, and home against Everton next. That's a good fixture.
Yeah.
So for Duran, just monitor it.
Okay. Next game, Tielemans. 6 chances created. I mean, I thought he's looked. I mean, you as a Villa fan, me as a neutral, he looks like the best. But as a player,
he looks good. He looks good.
Is he on penalties? Who is on penalties?
Well, we don't know yet, and that's going to be the key for Tielemans. If he is on penalties, then that suddenly elevates him up to a level above what he is at the moment. He's taken some corners he shared them with Bailey recently, so he got a bit of set piece, route to assists via that. He's playing in this kind of pivot with Onana. Sometimes he sits, sometimes he goes forward a little bit, but he's quite stable in the middle. If he gets pens, then we'll talk about him. Until we know if that's going to happen, I don't think bother.
If he emerges as the main penalty taker when I'm wildcarding on game week 6, even though the fixture run sort of starts to peter out, but next 6, Aston Villa have Everton, Wolves, but then they still good. Ipswich, Manchester United, Fulham, Bournemouth. I would be tempted to get Villa's penalty taker in at 5.5 if it is him.
I don't mind that.
Over the next player, Rodgers, 5.1. He's been the darling of the Twitterati. 5 chances created. Looked good. Passed the eye test. Passed the underlying stats test. Ish. He's got 1 shot on target. So is that the issue with him? I mean, irrespective of price, He's obviously good for 5.1, but
Yeah.
is he just a lot of running and perhaps not the goal scorer we hope?
Well, his role's changed a bit this year because he's playing in behind Watkins. And I think what we've seen quite a few times is he receives the ball, he links that kind of midfield and attack, drives forward with the ball, lays it off, either a through ball for Watkins or to one of the wide players. He should have had 2 assists in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
If Watkins was sharper,
yeah.
he would have come out with six assist points from that. We're probably not even having this conversation. He will assist more than score, I think. I'm sure of
Okay.
that. But I just think I can't get him like he's 5.1. He's nailed in this team at the moment. Good fixtures coming up. He will score, I'm sure. And I just think he's absolutely fine for this run of fixtures. It
Yeah.
feels like a return is brewing, and he's been a bit unlucky so far.
Do you think he would stay on your wild card?
Potentially, because all the fear for me was we went out and signed a new number 10. We didn't do that. So he's in the driving seat for that position now. Emery absolutely loves him. He was only saying before the weekend he doesn't think he should be called up to the England under 21s. He said he's an England international now. That shows you how highly he
Wow.
speaks of him or thinks of him. And I think at 5.1, getting into what will probably be a top 6 attack come the end of the year, yeah, I've got no problem keeping him.
Yeah, he's certainly watch listed for me as someone I may need to bring in game week 6,
Yeah.
because of his amazing price. Now he's going to go up, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
maybe
He does
5
need to return. He does need to return soon, though. I think,
Yeah,
doesn't he? Just to calm people down a little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely.
So,
I'll sketch over some of these other ones. Bailey, you
yeah.
mentioned injured, create 3 chances, so people aren't going to go there. McGinn as well, no goals, no shots on target, no chances created. So he is what he is, but he has started 3 times. The 2 defenders I put here because they are the highest in terms of expected goal involvement. I mean, it's only 3 games and it's still pretty low. Luke Dean and Matson. I mean, aside from these 2, but just it's defenders. If you were wildcarding now and you were going to get an Aston Villa defender in, which defender would you get in?
I think you'd have to go for Konza still
Oh,
because
really?
of that security of starts.
Okay.
Because these 2 are competing with each other, and while Dean is in the driving seat now, and I think he probably starts against Everton. Me personally, as a manager, I would want to know that I could bring in this player, and if I need to slot them in 6
Okay.
weeks down the line, he's not going to become a problem.
Right.
Matson was a massive summer signing. You've got to think that eventually he will become in the box seat for that position. It might well end up that Dean plays Premier League and Matson plays Champions League for a bit, which would be a good scenario if you own Dean. But I'm not quite there yet,
No.
comfortably enough with
Okay.
that. On the other flank, there's Bogard, who started at the weekend at 4 million over Nedeljkovic. Again, Cash you're probably only going to get 2 more games out of that, though, before Cash is back.
Okay, rightio. So yeah, okay. So it sounds like security still the best way to go.
For me, yeah.
I would say for anyone targeting Aston Villa, by the sounds of it. Let's have a look at your game week 4 side. Do you want to read it out as it is now and what you're planning to do with your transfer?
Yeah, quite straightforward this week. But I'll go through my team first. So I've got Henderson at home against Leicester in goal. Got 3 at the back: Alexander-Arnold, Konza, and Robinson, all home fixtures. Saka, Minter, Eze, and Rodgers in midfield, and then a front line of Muniz, Haaland as my captain, and Isak, and then Bentley, Smith Rowe, Porro, and Kwanzaa on the bench.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
your plan with this?
Well, the reason why I went for Rodgers last week is because it brought more money into the bank. I've got 3 million in the bank now, so it's Saka to Salah. Very
That's it.
straightforward.
That's it. Yeah, done.
Yeah, and then the team looks pretty strong for this week. I think it looks good for game week 5, and then wild card
Yeah.
in 6 after that. The only decision I might have to make this week is, do I play Muniz or Smith Rowe? And I'm on Muniz at the moment. Smith Rowe minutes maybe a little bit more at risk than Muniz. I'm not playing Porro. I think that makes sense to put him on the bench. I've just got to decide on that Fulham attacker.
Yeah, if I had your defence there, I would bench Porro. I don't have that. I'm sort of, as so often with these videos, I'm a step behind you. So
Well, yeah, but you're ahead of me, so
yeah, but also a step behind. Yeah, but not for long.
well,
So yeah, I've got yeah, I've already made a couple of changes as well. So Salah's already coming from me. And if injuries strike, I'll get a wild card. But I don't
yeah.
have Alexander Arnold. I do still have Gabriel. I do have Pedro Porro. So I
Okay.
will be playing them and hoping there's attacking returns from their defenders.
But you have brought in João Pedro, who looks brilliant for this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, I have. Yeah, and I've got Minter as well. So I
Yeah.
think that's the Brighton fan of me. I wanted more. I wanted
Well,
three if I could.
I was a bit like this when I went to see Villa against Arsenal last week. You know, Rodgers just came off and played so well. I only had
Yeah,
Konsa on my bench, and I felt like for our good fixtures, you want to enjoy the games.
yeah,
Watkins didn't work because I wanted to keep Isak. I still want to, I think
yeah.
I get why people are selling Isak, but I think Wolves away is a fine fixture for him.
Yeah.
And Rodgers made sense for my team because it enables Salah this week. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, excellent. Thanks so much for that. We'll probably be back next week. We'll have a bit sort of firmer plans in place there. We'll chat about things like we haven't shown, for example, the captaincy matrix,
yeah,
captains coming up, and that will help sort of your game week 6 decisions. And we'll also there'll probably be some team developments or injury news by next week as well. As well to consider, but yeah, I'm sure we'll have lots to chat about. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. We've got plenty more videos and podcasts coming up this week. Obviously, it'll step up a lot next week as well, but we've still got lots going on this week as well. Do press that like button, do press that subscribe button as well. Keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you soon.